Coming up on Hold All Tickets, a massive edition. Lamby, we have a record number of trumpeter votes and you're keen to play at Flemington.
I'm indeed really keen on a few on finals day, and the Self-Trumpeters contains what is potentially the quote of the year as an excuse after a loss on the punt. It's very humorous.
It doesn't get much better than that, and I'm playing in the slop at Rosehill. A lot going on. Hopefully the Blue Jackets can get the job done. Hold All Tickets starts right now. Hello and welcome to Hold All Tickets, proudly brought to you by BoomBet. Great fixed odds, more value and more boom moments. Sign up today and get in on the boom. I'm your host, Alex Donnelly, and after what feels like 2 months of changes, different panelists, different setups and everything, we're back to square one as I welcome in James Lamb. Lamby, how are we?
Very well, yeah. It's been a bit of musical chairs in here, but no, it's good to be back. It's probably our first show together for, I'd say, at least 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, probably since about the start of May, maybe. It's been a while.
All the group racing's done and dusted, and we're back for the winter. But I am looking forward to Flemington. It's a very good card.
Does look a decent card there. Rosehill, the port of call in Sydney, and it looks to be a very tricky card this weekend. Of course, Sunshine Coast do have it their big day, Caloundra Cup, the Glass House, and all of that going on up there, and the Wing Skinnies. If you didn't know about it, Wings won a race up there about 10, 15 years ago. Have you heard of that, Lamby?
Yeah, it started a pretty handy streak.
Yeah, it did. One of the more ridiculous wins you'll ever see, that's for sure. But of course, before we get into the show today, make sure you get around us on social media. Follow Punters on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X, of course, formerly Twitter. It's just at Punters. And on the YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. So anytime a video does get done by one of us, it will pop up in your feed, and that does help. And of course, on all podcast platforms, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and review. Anywhere you get a podcast is where you'll find Hold All Tickets. But Lamby, you're back in the hot seat this week with the Self-Trumpeters, and we have had one of the more entertaining weeks, haven't we?
Huge week. 16 votes might be unprecedented.
Yeah, I reckon we got near to 21 week, but that was over about 3 people. But there is a wide array of nominations
I'll say
this week.
Year it's unprecedented.
I'll go with that.
Okay. It was 14, but there was a last-minute addition. You sent me something this morning that I had to add. But we'll start with a non-racing one voter for Caxi. After the Viking, Alex Theroux, played a ripper second game for the Saints, Caxi tweeted, "Myself and many told North Melbourne to do it at pick number 2. Alex Theroux has arrived and North have done it again." So Theroux was taken at pick number 10 by the Saints. The Kangas took Finn O'Sullivan at 2, who looks a pretty handy player. But I just can't believe the North recruiters didn't listen to Caxi.
Is this like where Kane Corns has gone off at North a few weeks ago for not picking someone at like pick 14 when they had picks 2 and 3?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I mean, Caxi's got about 10 followers. So I don't know how North missed him telling them to get Theroux. But anyway, 1 vote for Caxi. 1 vote also for Alexander Haddow. So sharp punting from Alex on Saturday. He had 50 on left turn Clyde in Adelaide at $23. So he picked up just over 1,100 for his troubles. He posted the slip, which is fair enough when it's
Good
$23, but he's then promoted it as an ad.
Oh.
So he's paid for that tweet to be elevated in people's feeds. So I remember we gave Mick Gannon votes for the same thing, so we have to give Alex 1 for that. 2 votes, Matt Jones, former racing journo who was wrongly tagged in a tweet by the Australian Golf Digest. So they meant to tag the golfer, Matt Jones.
Yeah.
Matt quote tweeted with, "I'm the Matt Jones who tipped the card at Randwick in 2020, not the golfer. Cheers." So 2 votes there for Matt. 2 votes also, M Burger and Fries. So the Burger and Fries is the little sort of emoji. At Sports Chatter, that's his handle.
Yeah.
It's a classic sort of opportunistic trumpet from M. After Autumn Boy won impressively at Eagle Farm on Saturday, he posted, "I was on Autumn Boy when winning on debut. No bets today, but sheesh, he looked all right again. 2 from 2. So he hasn't even had a bet, but he's just decided to bring up the fact that he backed it on debut at 50-1, no less.
Yep.
So 2 votes there for M. 2 votes for Hawk, who was a late addition. He's off on another adventure.
Yep.
He posted a picture of a mini Eggs Benedict. Looked pretty nice with the caption, "My go-to breakfast before flying at Qantas International First Class Lounge. He also had part of his plane ticket showing the bit that said platinum on it. Now, I'm not exactly sure what platinum means.
That's the highest status you can get at Qantas.
I'm betting it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The platinum on the ticket there.
I think it helps you get upgrades, as his next story was the business upgrade to 13K. Okay. I think I'm a bronze Qantas guy, so the bare minimum.
I think I'm a brown. So he gets 2 votes for that. 4 votes. Now we're getting into the big ones. We got 2 4-voters this week. Nick McQualter. One of the more unusual trumpets. He's kind of trumpeting a loss, but really it's just a great quote from Nick.
It'll be hard to beat this year.
He was big on Enchanted L over the jumps at Casterton on Sunday. Sent out a tip on X, and the horse was well back to jump $1.55 favourite. It led by a huge margin, but got the staggers late to finish second. Nick didn't take the loss overly well, and a few Twitter punters came after him. He replied to one comment with, "You can blame the jockey, not the tipster for that one. I did my part and he'd failed miserably doing his." So I love the I did my part is an outstanding trumpet of sorts after a loss.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too many better excuses after a loss than I did my part.
Yeah, it's instead of just the simple, the jockey stuff, that it's like, no, I did the right thing. I found the right horse. But I think Twitter goes after, the people on Twitter go after Nick a little bit because he will bite at anything.
Yeah, he replied to pretty much everyone who had a crack. It was an entertaining thread.
In fairness, it's about $3 to $1.50. So if you're a little bit filthy.
I think you're being kind there. I think it might have been 2 into $1.50. Okay. But even so, it was well backed. 4 votes. Bruce Clark. He's one of the best self-inserters in the business, and he delivered a good one during the week. Bruce offered a tribute to now retired caller Terry Bailey, as only Bruce can. He posted 2 old videos from the TVN days with the caption, "When Terry Bailey was out of the caller's box and running alongside us on TVN, what a day to be there. So you think second Cox played, etc., etc. Well played, TB." So you'd assume the videos would be of Terry Bailey. Well, he did appear in there, but of the almost 4 minutes of vision, we got 90 seconds of Bailey, and the rest was Brucey boy.
Yeah.
Lovely bit of self-insertion from Bruce. Most definitely not his first rodeo.
No.
So he gets 4 votes. I'm not sure where that...
It's only 5 this season for Snowy.
Really?
He had a really good season before.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really good in the off season last year. Around this time last year when it was all the Royal Ascot stuff and
Jeez, I would have had him for double digits.
No, he's only on 5 this time in.
Right. Okay, that's us done. So can you give us a quick...
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many changes up the top.
Not too many changes. Fitzner still well ahead on 28 votes. The Hawks moved up to 25, so he's making a late dash.
Jeez, okay.
Durban July weekend this weekend. So we're doing this racing season. So there's about a month to go. Rick McIntosh, 11. The boys at Racing Previews, 11. Damo Ratcliffe, he's just on a Collingwood tear on X at the moment. He's very close to getting muted. He's on 11. Nick McQualter and Jack Oldham at 10 votes as well. It's a very good top list. And I note we left some on the cutting floor this week. Gab Doxey is very lucky for the post-race declaration of Tashi being immoral.
Yeah, I did see that. I wasn't aware of the context around that. So I left her out.
Yeah, so she was very lucky. So she's on notice, but now the Group 1's over. I think
you're just bitter because Tashi finally won a race and
it got rolled in a benchmark 88 in February. Before we get on to the next segment there, we need to tell you that Thoroughbred Sales is the #1 online horse platform for owners looking to buy a racehorse, with over 130 trainers and syndicators eligible to choose from. Horses will be eligible to run in their 4 new $1 million race series, with over 400 horses and races having a bonus. So get onto that. Check out Thoroughbred Sales today. The review of last week is not great, I'm going to be honest. As we get into that, we do hold ourselves accountable.
I can sit back and relax here.
You can. You're enjoying yourself. Where were you last week?
Broadbeach.
How was the weather?
Good until the last couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But no, it was much better than Melbourne.
Yeah, mate. Horrendous coming home to -2.
Yep.
Best bet at Rosehill for myself was Step Aside. Yeah, he can step aside out of my black book to be never backed again. That was great. Tarasay was my next best. They decided to not lead on a speed horse. No wonder he couldn't have a turn of foot. He's not a turn of foot horse.
Did you do your part though? You did your part?
Oh, I took $3.20. I think he started $4. So no. Sovereign Hill, I did my part.
Okay.
Took $21 on Wednesday. started $4. I've never seen a horse this well backed run worse.
Yeah. Oh, that was one of the few races I actually watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't see. I spent the afternoon in the surf club, but I didn't get there till quite late. But yeah, I did because I was alerted to the plunge by you, I think.
Yeah.
Stink bomb. Is there anything in the stewards report?
Nothing. Just race below expectations. We may see it on Digi soon, I think, given he's a Yulong gelded horse. Then Caulfield, my best bet was the Open. I just want to know why Dean Yendall decided to go to the fence at the 1,000. Got held up for a run around the turn and got found wanting when Yellow Sam bombed him late.
Yep.
Bit unlucky, but anyway. Adam, Eagle Farm, best bet. He was on Brave Design. He found Autumn Sun too good. So not a horrendous tip. I think he's just run into a very good horse
Been
there.
up for a while too. Bit of trouble.
He's been all over the joint. His next best was Rising Pacific, who was a $9 chance that ran fourth. So of course that happens when you like the each way. And his value bet, which started $6, was Hidden Wealth. We did get text message confirmation after this horse got beaten that it's live. He's like,
that's why he's not on the show this week. He's been suspended.
Yeah,
for tipping that horse too many times.
Yeah, it was up there with what was that Tiakau horse that Peegs loved that he just kept tipping every week during the spring.
Yeah, the name escapes me.
It started favourite like the Caulfield Sprint or something. 3-year-old filly, yeah.
Yep.
He got the mail and just followed it all the way through. Haven't heard from Boombet as of yet for this week, but we do have their Boom Odds offer this week. It is in the Glasshouse up on the Sunshine Coast this weekend. Warney, you can get $5 about Warney to win the Glasshouse this weekend. So if you are keen on him to get the job done up in Queensland, make sure you head to Boombet. You can get $5 there. Of course, T's and C's apply with depending on how much you can get on for a maximum amount. But go check out Boombet for their odds because great fixed odds, more value and more boom moments. Sign up today and get in on the boom. Speaking of the boom, Lamby, it's finals day out at Flemington this weekend. I really like this meeting every year. It's a good meeting.
No, it was one of those weeks where there's sometimes when you're searching for a best bet because you're not that keen. This week I could have picked 4 or 5 horses.
Yes,
as my best bet, but I've settled on Nobellis, race 4. Looks a really promising type. Strolled home in a maiden, 2 back before trouncing them at Sandown last start. The runner-up All Business was beaten 3.25.
Yep.
It came out and won at Sandown yesterday in a race where the first 2 put about 6 lengths on the rest of the field. I know it was a deteriorating track, but still the form looks handy. She'll land in the first few from barrier 3 and I think we'll take plenty of beating with 54 kilos. She's a horse that's well and truly on the up, getting better with each start.
Yeah, I like it. I just want to know how she got rolled at debut at Pakenham.
Yeah, not sure. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah. Your next best comes up in one of the final events of the day.
The final event, Stylish in race 9. She dead set belted them at Sandown last start off a total forgive at Caulfield when poorly ridden. Jayla Kennedy picked up the dreaded Saturday slaughter that day. Before that, she was excellent winning at Bendigo first up. So her form since resuming is very hard to knock. 2 big wins and 1 total forgive. Well drawn and soft track stats. I don't think it's going to be overly soft because Flemington dries out really well and Friday and Saturday looks okay, but pretty wet at the moment and it's cold weather. So
got some rain this morning too.
Yeah, I think probably a soft 6 maybe. But yeah, soft track stats, 6 starts, 3 wins and 2 seconds. So loves a bit of give out of the ground. Yeah,
all right. And your value comes up in the stayers race. And after yesterday, we had about 9 horses in the quaddie. Of course, we got bombed by a 20s chance that got beaten 25 last week.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit more confident about this race. It's going with Stylish Secret. It's a horse that's been up for quite a while, which you could look at it 2 ways.
Yeah.
It's got a really strong fitness base for this step up in trip. The other is that it's a run too far and they might be just chasing a bit of a purse at the end of the prep. But he does look overs at $18. He finished 1.6 lengths off Chocolate's last start. He raced wide without cover for pretty much the entire 2,000-metre journey. And wide barriers have been costly at his last 3. He's drawn out every start and covered ground every start. This time he's drawn barrier 5. Chocolate's has drawn barrier 14. So I just don't think there should be such a massive price gulf between the 2. I think she's a smart horse and could easily win this, but $18 versus $4.40 or whatever, I'd be happy to have something each way, Stylish Secret.
And you do sometimes see in these, especially with these young horses in the staying races, anything can pop up at this time of year as well. So I don't mind it at all.
I'm just going to do something a little bit unorthodox and run through a couple of others that I'm keen on without giving a huge explanation. But I think Backash can get punters off to a good start. Bakluch in race 2, short but hopefully sweet.
Shout out to the Tates.
Marble 9 is absolutely airborne at the moment. Joyful Fortune, the danger there. I just think Perret is gross unders yet again.
How is he favourite?
I don't know how he's gone up favourite.
I've tipped up Joyful Fortune in that race just for his straight track record.
Yep. And there was one other that I liked. I think Golden State Warrior. It's a staying race, I know, but I think he can turn the tables on Bold Soul with a 3 kilo swing in the weights.
Yep.
So, yeah, keen to play in the first 5 races. I think we can get a few winners. And she's an artist. I mean, you have to tip her on what she did last time, but she's very short.
Yeah, there's a bit of a boom around her. Like I've missed her 2 starts or a couple of starts so far, so I'm very interested to see what she does.
Smashed
this weekend.
the clock last time.
Yeah,
super impressive. Nice looking horse too.
Yeah,
very flashy.
Can't wait to see if she wins by 5 or 6. There'll be Everest calls very quickly.
Oh yeah, yep.
That's I think we're all running for second though.
Yep.
Need to get up to Rosehill this weekend. It is very wet in Sydney at the moment. If you saw Warwick Farm yesterday, that track got worse as the day went on. Heavy 9 at the moment. Rail out 8 metres, and they've hardly ever run on 8 metre position. It's 8 metres from the 1,000 to the winning post, 7 metres the remainder. Of course, it was pretty wet there last week, and they got off the fence as well. And it's a bit of a concern. My best bet comes up in the final event of the day. I'm waiting all afternoon for my best bet. Kalugan for the Godolphin camp. Loved how he came back this time in with a strong win on a wet track, won a good style, and then found accredited a touch too strong at Randwick at his last start. But I think he's just a duck. All of his good form and all of his good wins have come on really wet tracks. Of course, he was the horse that created a really big impression on debut. I think he won by about 15 lengths. He had John Bell John on a heavy 9 track, probably this time last year, I reckon. Kembler, and then he went into town, and he's sort of bobbed around a little bit, but they've kept him back for winter because he looked like he could be a carnival horse. Have a look at his 5 goes on heavy tracks, 3 wins, 2 seconds. It was a 10 yesterday. It's a 9 now. He looks perfectly set up. 3rd up from a good gate. I think he should just be too good given the wet track.
Probably outside fence by that time of the day.
They rarely get to the outside fence at Rosehill, so it'll be interesting. They sometimes just come up the middle of the track, but with the rail 9, probably a chance of getting there too, and sometimes it can be a bit of a fast lane. Next best comes up in race number 5. I'm sticking with Godolphin here. I'm going with Tarpaulin for Rachel King. Trialling good style coming into the fresh run. I think he's going really well. You should go have a look at a couple of his trials. He's throwing his head about. He really wants to get on with the business. Like, he really wants to let go. The second of his trials was super. Karen McAvoy slipped him a bit of rain with about 100, 200 to go, and he just let go. So when he gets let off the bit this time in, I think he could really go to another level. He's had 4 goes on heavy tracks for 2 wins and a placing, and his miss was last prep in the Gothic Stakes, where he did pull up with a slow recovery, according to the steward. So complete forgive that. 3 goes on heavy tracks for 2 wins and a placing. He was a length off first settler and reserve bank last preparation. That's Group 1 form.
Very good form.
That's more than good enough for just what is a benchmark 78 over the 1,100 metres at Rosehill. Best value. I've had to change it this morning. My best value originally was going to be race 7, number 7, Sounds Unusual. Went up $10 yesterday, and I did flag Delammy. I was like, I think some money will come for this horse. It's now $7 this morning. So that was going to be the value, but as are the rules, we can't have that. So
big question is, did you back it yesterday?
I took $9.50 yesterday afternoon.
Good.
So a little something on there. So we'll have more explanation about that one later on. But my best value goes around in the first. It is a Just Awesome for Blake Ryan. Good winner when he was up on speed on debut. And I like that despite being really green in the home straight, like he was having a look around, he was ducking in, he was ducking out, he still held them off. And then you have a look through the sectionals on the day. His last 800 and last 400 were just outside of the top 10. They were 12th best on the day. For a 2-year-old on debut, stacked up against 8 races, I think that stacks up very well. And obviously, he should go a bit faster if he can run straighter as well. Going off his trials, I think he should get through the going as well. He's out of a Fastnet Rock mare. Should get through it. It's a wet track. These 2-year-olds can completely lose it, but he's about 20 to 1, so I'm happy to have something on him to kick off the day.
Like it a lot.
Yeah, but Sounds Unusual. Have something on there, even a 1x3 now that the price is gone, because he had no chance the way the race was run at last start. Let's get in the yays or nays this week, Lamby. We're a little bit light on. Not a lot's happened this week.
No, quite a week on the news front. We'll kick things off, though, with a horse that won impressively last week. Autumn Boy will win a Group 1 this spring. Yay or nay?
I'll go yay. I think there's a bit of style and substance to what he's done. And we were talking yesterday with a few others here in the office how we know that that horse that won the Champagne Stakes, Nepotism, looks very good. But before that, Vinrock, A couple of others you're not too sure about. So it's like, okay, he looks like he could spring champion, Caulfield Guineas, Golden Rose, all those types of races could be up his alley. I wouldn't even be shocked if a 3-year-old wins the CF4 as well, because it's after the carnival now too. So there's a bunch of races for him. I reckon he can. I think there's more to him given he's by the Autumn Sun.
I was also taking their time with him, obviously. And I'm not sure the 2-year-olds we saw in the main juvenile races are necessarily going to be elite 3-year-olds.
I think Vinrock and Nepotism can go on with it.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, there's so many Group 1s for 3-year-olds. Yeah. Golden Rose, Caulfield, Randwick and Rosehill Guineas, Spring Champion, which you mentioned. So many open age races too in that 1,200 to 1,600 range. And he could even stretch out to 2,000 with his
if he wins the Caulfield
Caulfield
Guineas, they'll run him in the Cox Plate.
The Autumn Boy out of a Savabeel mare.
Oh, that's got Cox Plate written all over it.
So I think he will. Antino was stiff to miss out on the top 10 Group 1 wins article published on Punters this week. So for context, Jet Hatton, who's based in Sydney, he put together his top 10 Group 1 wins, and Antino didn't get a run.
Which is a bit weird because Jet loves Antino as well.
He loves Mr. Brightside more, and he didn't make it either.
I can understand Mr. B not getting a run, but how Antino's Toorak didn't get a run it boggles the mind. It was one of the more insane wins of the spring. It was awesome. Like the way the track was playing that day with Shin taking off at the 600, 800, winning by about 6 cartwheeling away from him. Yeah, it was one of the best wins of the spring.
Yeah, I'm also 11th at the 800, and he's won by 6.5.
Because he was last and he took off.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable performance. I wouldn't, in fairness to Jet, I wouldn't make too many changes to the list, which you can check out on Punters, but I would have Antino's Toorak win in instead of Mahuna's Golden Slipper.
Well, Mahuna sat in the 1-1.
Yeah.
Got a great run.
Yes, the Golden Slipper is a bigger race.
Yeah.
But enjoyed the perfect run, had the jump on Wotan, who was back and wide, and fell in, basically. Yeah. It's won by a hair.
It wasn't like when J-Mac got up the fence that time in the thing in the same colours, when he missed the kick and just went straight up the fence.
Yep. So, no, Antino, bit stiff.
Yeah.
I'll let you read this one out
Yeah.
because I need to give some context around it.
There was a lot going on yesterday. It absolutely pissed down sideways. So at Sandown Lakeside yesterday, a lot of late scratchings happened during the day. So Sandown Lakeside yesterday was a good advertisement for the quaddie sub rule being chucked in the bin.
It's yay with shades of nay because, look, I'll give some context first. Soft 6, start of the day, became a heavy 8 and then a heavy 9. It was a bog. Bucket load of scratchings, especially in the third leg of the quaddie. So favourite, second fave and third fave were all withdrawn around 1 p.m. Then there were 3 more scratchings around 2 p.m. So if you whacked a quaddie on in the morning or on your work lunch break.
I think I did.
Yes, which is what I did as well. You copped the sub as a replacement for your scratching. So in the big 6, the sub was Vale Mountain, who was the eventual winner. But in the quaddie, it was Glenfinnan, who was unplaced.
Yep.
So basically, if you had 4 or 5 horses in that leg and they were all scratched, which was the case with me, you ended up with Glenfinnan 1 out, a horse that I didn't even consider including in my original 4 or 5 picks. So when you look at it like that, it's a bizarre system, but I don't know. I've thought about this a lot over the years. I don't know what the alternative is, given it's a pool system. It's not like you can take a horse out and replace it at the last minute because it, changes
all the different combinations,
all the combos, all the dividends. So the fact that we can't even get emergencies for the Melbourne Cup, I don't think we'll be changing the sub rule anytime soon. It'll blow up the tab servers if we try to do something.
Especially since I've just come back from Royal Ascot where there was a 34 horse handicap.
Yeah.
And it was, betting was wild.
Like people will say, you can cash out your ticket, but the cash out, it's always heavily in favour of the house. So I don't think that's much of an option, but yeah, when you have a situation like yesterday, the sub rule sucks.
Yeah, it's you're not going to win.
No,
like let's be honest. Unless you've hit field in that league, and then in which case you're cheering if the sub wins because then you've got everything's loaded into that. So all of your
you've got it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Have 5 picks that are scratched.
Yeah, it's like if you get a dead heat in a quaddie and you've got both of those horses, you're cheering because you get double dividend if it lobs in the end.
But yeah, I mean, the rule has its flaws. I just don't know what is a better
I think
system.
we need to figure out with the parimutuel and the tote how to get more than 24 horses on the board first. Then that's probably the next thing we can tackle. But
People will say, stop taking quaddies, but I'm not going to.
Absolutely
I'm an absolute
not.
sucker for a quaddie. Always have been.
Especially, like out there with people talking about same game multis and first goal scorers tonight. It's a lot going on in the office. But we are done and dusted this week on Hold or Tickets. Of course, thank you to our sponsors, Boombet. Great fixed odds at more value and more boom moments. Sign up today and get in on the boom. Thank you, Lamby.
Thank you, Alex. Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back. I'll be honest. The weather, not so much. But make sure you do get around us on social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram. All the good stuff going up there. Give us a follow. Of course, on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so anytime we do a video, it does pop up in your feed. Your support would be greatly appreciated. We are done and dusted this week on Hold or Tickets. Good luck and many winners.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.